We're pretty much all here. I know everybody's pretty much all here.
Bless you.
Thanks.
Hi, Bowen.
Hello.
All right. Well, some of you may or may have not noticed, because there's so many new people on, that there's someone that looks a little different than the rest of us because of her backgrounds. But I may have told you that I was going to be interviewing someone in the near future, and I asked you for some questions. Well, that is true. On May 8th, I'm going to be interviewing Danielle Scottahuda. But I also asked you those questions because today we have someone from the national team staff jumping on our call for a little while. So we are fired up to have Erin Virtue here. Erin was All-American setter for Illinois. And then was in the national team gym as an athlete, and has been a head coach of a Norseca's silver team, U18, won the silver medal. Then full-time on USA's staff as a setter coach, offensive coordinator for the last 2 years. So she's working for the national team and going to be Tokyo in 2021.
Yeah, Olympics 2.0.
So, Erin, thank you for jumping in our call today and spending a few minutes with us. We're fired.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, the USA gave us these backgrounds, so I thought I'd test it out. This is I tested it yesterday, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'll use that with Brockport tomorrow. And but yeah, I'm pumped. I've gotten to work with Steve a lot, and respect him as a coach a ton. You guys are lucky to have such a good person leading your program, and he does a lot of work, as I'm sure you know, with USA Volleyball. And I think we're really lucky to have, I think, not only on our staff on the national team, Karch is our head coach, but also I get to work with all our young programs. As a coach, I used to be as a coach more, but now I'm just more as a manager. And so I get to work with coaches like Steve all the time, which is awesome. So yeah, I'm pumped to be here.
Awesome, Erin. Where are you right now, Erin?
Yeah, I live in Anaheim, California. That's where our team trains out of here in Anaheim. I'm originally from Chicago, though. So is anyone from California or in California?
Either.
Rachel, are you in California right now, or are you back in New York?
Nope, I'm in California right now.
Well, where are you?
Fresno area.
Okay.
Central Valley.
Cool.
She's coming back here in 2 weeks, and she's joining Syracuse's staff to be their volleyball ops.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
So she played for us for 4 years, and then has been our assistant for the last 2 years, and now is moving to Yellen staff at Syracuse. So
awesome. Cool. Congrats.
Thank you.
So yeah, we're fired up. Well, Erin, if it's okay, we do have some questions from some of the athletes, and then maybe they want to ask you, but I had them send in some stuff before. And
awesome.
So I'm going to recycle when I get to interview Danny in a couple weeks too.
Cool. Yeah, Danny was one of my teammates, only for a short while. She was like the bomb.com when I played, and she was at that time, I think, a 4-time Olympian, ready for her 5th. And I was just the setter trying to not mess it up, trying to set her. And so yeah, she's a sweetheart. She was quite the competitor, so I'm excited you guys have a chance to talk to her.
Well, yeah, you got any good days from your time with her in the gym?
No, I'll let her share those. But yeah, she definitely, you know how some of you probably feel this, I certainly did, where when you're off the court and you're like, once you go inside the lines, you become like a different version of yourself. She in the world, but when she crossed that line, it was like game time, and she was like expected a ton, and still an amazing person, but what a competitor. So I was lucky I am lucky to know her.
Yeah, aren't we all? She's so sweet and genuine.
Yeah.
Right now I'm doing some evaluating for USA. I did some this morning for middle blockers, and about 10 days ago, Danny called me about a couple things, and in the middle of our phone call, she goes, "Now, can you give me some thoughts or help me out with this evaluating of middle blockers? I haven't watched video in a while." And I'm like, "Danny, you were the best middle blocker in the world for 20 years. I'm pretty sure I should be asking you that question."
Yeah, no, you know what? It's funny. She coaches and she works with like young players, but you find there's not that many coaches that like right when they're done playing that they become this and all of a sudden an amazing coach, and how to look for that and what to be able to evaluate and look for. And Rachel, you'll find that out as you've been working, kind of as your coaching career continues to go. But I think like there's very few that just find that light switch so easy. So it's cool that she's asking for help. I think that's a true sign of someone that's going to be really good at that next step.
She's she's so humble and so sweet.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I have a hard time picturing the Danny between the lines because I'm the Danny that's so humble and sweet.
Yeah. Try setting her a gap that's a little low. You'll find out.
I do have one Danny story from Tom when he was a assistant coach, when he was tossing balls in warm-ups. In international warm-ups, you do shared hitting lines.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't hit it line, you're not supposed to smoke it because you'll hit the other team. Well, the other team, I forget who they were playing, but they hit him right in the head. And so
Probably Cuba.
were they known for that?
Yeah, they play dirty.
So Danny just told her setter to set the next ball tight, and Danny goes up and just drills the setter straight down in the head with the ball, and then just stands and looks at her.
Oh man, yeah.
So,
You have to have each other's back that way. Like when we have like what Tom is doing, that's my role with like warm-ups is I'll get the balls for our setters, and so you're in the line of fire there, like right in the middle of the court. And people are coming at, they're just trying to warm up. No, I don't know that I see anyone trying to do it purposely, but Cuba, I think, used to. And, but they, like, if anyone hits me, they always like, we got you, Erin. And like, no one actually like goes at the other line or the other coach, but they say they're going to. They definitely talk a big game, but Danny, that was a different generation, I think, of retaliation.
yeah. And seeing some pictures of Danny, I don't think anybody was going to mess with her. So,
No.
Yeah. So we'll start off with one of our setters has a question. Carrie, she said, "What was your biggest accomplishment?"
Carrie, as a coach or a player?
Player.
As a player.
Or actually, can we get one each?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so since playing was 100 years ago, I'll start there. Let's see. I think just getting a chance to be on the national team for me was I was there and I got injured, so my career ended a little early, but just a chance to go and represent the United States. The first time I got asked to get called up was actually at the time it was called our A2 team. It's what is now our college national team, but we only had 12 girls that were selected, and so I was on that, and our captain. And it was right before the 2004 Olympics, so they kept it really small. And when I was asked to be the captain, was like I was handed this jersey that was had my name on the back. And international volleyball, when you're the captain, they put a bar under your number. You've probably seen that. Like soccer, they wear the sleeve band. But if you're international, they put a bar. And so I had to ask what that was because no one else had that. And I just like started crying. I was like just so proud to be part of it. And to me, that's not necessarily like it wasn't an accomplishment as much as like a lot of teams that I've been on, a lot of really successful teams. But to me, that was probably the proudest I've ever been to be like just part of something. Was really like overwhelmingly emotional. And just the fact that like I was looking around like, don't tell anyone that like I don't know if I'm supposed to be here, but I'm like so happy to be here. And so for me, that was probably one of the coolest moments I remember as a player. And like Steve mentioned, I had a lot of really cool experiences in college and club and all the places I've been. So I've been really lucky to be around a lot of really good teams. But for me, that's probably the emotional moment that sticks out. And coaching. So I coached in college for a long time, and I'll pick one from there and then one from my national team. And I think I was doing the math the other day. I think it was like 15 years in college, which I'm like, holy hell, I'm kind of getting old. So
Easy.
Yeah, I know, seriously, but still, I was like, oh my gosh, of that time. Probably the biggest team accomplishment we had when I was coaching at Michigan. We went to the Final Four, and our team was unranked, and I think we took 6th that year in the conference in the Big Ten, and it's a gnarly conference, but taking 6th in the conference in any conference is not amazing, even though that was great. And the team was unranked going into the tournament, and then we just won 5 in a row, and you have to win 6. And so, but we just played really well and like really together as a team, and that was a really fun team to coach, and it was a cool way to do it. I think at that time there had only been in the history of the NCAA tournament only one other team that had done that as an unranked team going into the tournament, and so that was cool. It was nice. It was like really special to be part of that and kind of come together at the end. That's what we all strive to do. I think you guys as a college team try to get your best volleyball going on at the end. We're trying to do that next year in Tokyo and with our national team. And so that was probably one of the cool moments in college. And then with our national team, we've won a few gold medals, and here you get to play for money. So it's kind of like also fun. Like we won these 2 tournaments that you win and you get $1 million. And it was like, what? And so we're holding these checks, like you get $1 million. What? I mean, we don't get all that, but I mean, the players get a lot, which is cool. But probably the coolest moment was just the moment we qualified for the Olympics. So in indoor volleyball and in beach volleyball, but indoor, we have there's 12 teams that get to go to the Olympics in women's indoor and men's indoor as well. And you have to qualify, and you have 2 chances to do that. So we had the first chance was these tournaments all over the world, and you have a 4-team pool. And so you play 3 teams, and we hosted that last August, and that was the first chance. We qualified there, which was great. You don't want to have to wait for the second chance. I think the nerves would be out the roof. But even though our team is ranked number 2 in the world right now, it's still a really big deal to actually get the bid to go to the Olympics. It's never not gotten from the USA women. Excuse me. So to actually achieve that was a really, really special moment.
Sweet.
So sorry, that's such a long-winded answer. I'm a storyteller. So.
No, those are great stories. I think they were all loving it. That's pretty cool. Well, Carrie, was that good? You like that?
Is that acceptable, Carrie?
Yeah, sorry, I missed the last part because my computer crashed.
Okay. That's okay.
I heard the rest of it.
Okay.
That's okay. I'm recording.
No, I like
So we're
that.
good. Mitchie, one of our incoming freshmen, has a question. What was your best way of handling all the pressure you have?
Cool. Such a good question. We have a lot of really great people that work with our team and our national team. And somebody said it really great the other day they said that pressure is a gift. And when you're feeling like everyone feels pressure in different ways, like physiologically. So like what I would feel is my palms would get sweaty when I would get like nervous or feel pressure in like a big moment. And that's not great for a setter because you don't want your hands to be all sweaty. But when I would do that, I'd have like a mechanism that I would go through, and it's funny, I still do it, even though I'm like sitting on the bench, I'm like still like making sure my hands aren't sweaty. But what I learned was that when that happened, that would just mean that something's important. So something's about to be really important to me. And so that pressure, I just wanted to just try to change the mindset of it. So when my palms would get sweaty or when I'd start to feel like anxious or nervous or pressure filled, I would just try to change that message in my head a little bit of, okay, what I'm about to do is important. And I live for those like important moments. That's why I want to compete. That's why I want to coach competitors and enter the big games. And so I think for me, it was just trying to change the mindset, whatever I was thinking, whether it was like, oh shit, or like, okay, here we go. Like if I change that kind of message in my head, then I was able to just be able to perform and relax and I mean, I think it's kind of cliche, but you can really tell yourself, like, especially if it's true, like, you've done all the things you can to prepare for this moment. So just be you, just put your best out there, and that's all you can ever do. So those were some tools I think I did as a competitor, but also like when I played, but then also as a coach, we have those moments too, where it's a big point. You maybe have to say the right thing or try to be as calm as you can be to help your team. And or maybe if it's offense or defense, you're helping maybe execute one strategy, and you just have to be fully prepared for that moment. And so changing that tune in my head it continues to be a really big thing.
Nice. So you still get the sweaty palms?
Yeah, I do. I probably have them now because I'm like, oh, I'm talking to this team. Yeah, no, I definitely get them. And then I would like sit and serve receive. So for the setters out there, like you'd be in like area 3 or whatever facing your passer, and I'd always like do this move, and I still do, and then I'd like blow on my hands. So I would like wait for the server, and I'd be like watching the server and make this move. So I still find myself, if you guys are watching the Olympics next year, you can see me on the bench probably like put my clipboard down, rub my hands together, like I feel like I'm playing the match. And I at least think through the match that way as if I'm playing.
Cool. Hi.
Yeah.
Megan Mastro, one of our middles coming up on her senior years, asked, what's your biggest struggle? What was your biggest struggle as an athlete?
Oh, that's easy. So I was, like Steve mentioned, I played at the University of Illinois, and I was a setter there. And I came in and I wasn't our starter. I actually played like a couple role plays my first 2 years, and it was good. It was a good chance for me to learn and get better the first couple of years. And my junior year, like rocked out. We were good, and I was an All-American, and we just played like really well as a team. And going into my senior year, that's when I was on that college team, and I just was like feeling good about myself and our team and what we were about to do. And then I tore my ACL. We were 9th in the country, right as we started to enter preseason, and we had knocked off USC, who had won 52 games straight. So it was like, think of like a back-to-back national champion. They hadn't lost in 2 years until they played Illinois, and we beat them. And then the 5 days later, I tore my ACL playing like some team from Chicago, Loyola, and I won't like there's all those rules, like can you get another year back or not, and I wasn't able to. I had played, at that time you had to play 20% or less of your season, and I played 21%, and because it was like one that had gone like an extra set or something like that. And so it was like pretty devastating. So we tried to appeal for things, but for me that was like a really tough setback. I look back and I don't think I handled it amazing. I wasn't as good of a teammate as I needed to be, because my team needed to obviously continue on, and I was our like quarterback. I was like, I tried to be as good as I could for the freshmen that came in and sat behind me, but there was a lot of moments in that like now people told me all the time like things happen for a reason, and I didn't always believe that, but now I can look back for sure, and that was a big catalyst in my life to kind of begin the path of coaching. And I came back and rehabbed really hard, and I continued to play. And it was after that injury that I went onto the national team and played, and I was better. I was faster. I was jumping better. I'm short. You can't see that on the video, but I'm only like 5'7". And so everything was better. I was like determined to be as good as I could be. And I was better after that. Now my chance to play in college was not there, but my chance to play with the national team was. And so, but for me, that was like an important injury, if that makes sense. Like I think of a setback, and like the one we're in now with this pandemic, and I really makes me think about like, okay, what this situation stinks, but what could potentially come from it that sticks and changes my life forever. And maybe I get to talk to Brockport and I learn something, or I get to we have like a cooking class with our team today. We've never done that before. We have like, they're cooking Chinese dumplings together. Like we never have to do that because they're all over the world and playing in different leagues. And so I'm trying, like those kind of situations really make me not take those setbacks for granted and like try to get something out of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing up that memory. Who asked that question? Just kidding, Megan. That's a good question.
I mean, she's a nursing student. She knew
Yeah.
there was an injury. That's
Yeah. Yeah. The ACL is not a fun one. I'm sure there's someone on the call that's had a tough injury, and yeah.
Same one.
Carrie, Steve, yeah. So it's definitely like if you guys have that in your life, our athletes go through it, and I think it's made me also more empathetic when that happens, and it's a good quality to have known what that struggle feels like now as I try to help athletes go through it sometimes from an emotional standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah. When you've been through it, it definitely changes your perspective on it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I was going back.
Yeah.
That one,
Yeah.
it's amazing how those come right back. You're like, I know this one.
I know. I was like, I got this answer.
You can crush that one. We have one here from incoming freshman Sarah. What advice would you give to younger volleyball players trying to be successful?
Man, so much. Yeah, I think trying to ask a lot of questions. That was something I kind of learned a little later in my career. And I think if you really want to truly get better, I think being able to soak in as much as you can and know a lot of why you're doing what you're doing, and that's going to make your coaching staff better too, is really having some like really good background of how to develop. And also I think just being very open-minded. Knowing Steve, he's probably talked to you a lot about just trying to have a growth mindset or learning. But I think that's like, it's so mainstream now, but it's such a big deal to just be open to to try new things. And that's trying so many new things, whether you're on the court or reading and learning about how somebody else does something that's like a path and mastery is such a cool thing to soak in. And I think I'm doing that now, and I'm like 58 years old. Just kidding. I'm not that old, but I feel like that right now. But I definitely, I think that soaking in that knowledge and you have such a cool opportunity in front of you right now where things you're just isolated. Like all of you guys are sitting there by yourselves. It's like, can be so sad, but like you still have class and all these other things that you're learning. But, is there a way for you to study something you wouldn't have otherwise studied, or outside of school and volleyball? And I think that truly helps you on the court. Yeah, and I think taking advantage of just trying to be who you are. I'm sure there's the last piece of advice I'd give is you just need to make sure you're constantly bringing the best version of you. You don't need to be anyone else. You don't need to be like Amy, doesn't need to be Rachel, or doesn't need to be Sarah, anyone else. Like you are you. And if you just bring you all the time, that's like all anyone could ever ask of you. So it's really easy. I see our team, we have an age gap of about 11 years between players. And you guys will have that too, between someone that's coming as a freshman and someone who's a senior, and you're going to be on different pages of your lives. Our women are like that. One has a young baby, some are married, and some like are still in college or just finished. And so that big range can be daunting at times, but like it's really important just to remember to be who you are.
Cool.
Yeah. Sure thing.
That was good. We're giving the middles some love today. I know you loved middles, so.
I do love middles.
Yeah.
I work with our middles, especially in the attacking side of the game. I get to do that, which are great. We have some of the best in the world.
Nice. Yeah, Maya, who was making the smoothie but didn't make enough for everyone, she asked, how did you stay motivated on the days that were hard, when you were struggling, or even when you wanted to just quit?
Yeah. No, that's real. I think we all have them. I think that's one, is acknowledging that like you're not going to have if days were 1 to 10 and 10 being like the best day ever, 1 being the worst, you're not going to wake up and have a 10 every single day. And I think acknowledging that and just letting that sit in is just okay. And then the second part, there's 3 parts to this answer. The second part is like, if your days is, if you like, it feels like a 7 or a 6 or something that's like below where you want to be, just trying to bring like all you can into that 7, like not letting that thing drop to a 2 just because you're feeling bad, you know? So just like bringing all you can into that moment. And the third part is, like, for me, this is important, but really understanding your why. So like, for that can be in a lot of different facets of your life, but if we're just talking about what, like, your volleyball, as an athlete, or even as a student or a student athlete together, me as a coach, we ask our athletes here, what is your why do you play, why do you play for Team USA? And when the days are hard and you understand that, there's a really cool quote from this book called A Man's Search for Meaning, and it said, if you have a why, you can bear almost any how. So if there's like a how, like, man, I gotta get up and do this cardio and then do lifting, and all I have is these soup cans or whatever it is you're lifting, if that's the how to get where you want to be and that's your why, then I think you can, it's again a mindset thing. So remembering your why and actually like speaking it out loud to somebody is pretty powerful.
Awesome. Well, they all gave us some great questions, but I also don't know how much time we can carve out of your day, because I know you're probably pretty busy.
Yeah, no, you're good. I'm okay for right now. We
Okay.
have dumplings. We have this dumpling thing. Actually, I'll tell you about it really quick because you can follow
Yeah, go
along
for it.
if you want. So normally on Wednesdays we have just our team meetings, kind of like you guys, and most of our things are done kind of individually or separate, or they're working out with our strength coach, or virtually with our strength coach. But today our leadership committee, and Jordan Larson is one of our captains, they decided to do, Jordan played in China this past year and Shanghai, and she met a girl there who was just a fan and came to a lot of the games, and the girl ended up going to school at Pepperdine. And so when Pepperdine got closed, the girl from Shanghai came to live with Jordan, and so she's living there with her. Her name is Lydia, and so Lydia and Jordan, but I think mostly Lydia, they're taking us through how to cook dumplings today, at 12:30 Pacific time, so 2 hours from right now. And I think Jordan's gonna go on her Instagram on live, so you guys can watch. Or I think the ingredients are there if anyone's like super brave and wants to go and get the stuff. It's like little, like, if you've probably had a pot sticker or something, I think those are the kind of dumplings we're making. So you can jump in and join us, or just watch. I'm sure it'll be weird. I think our whole team and probably some people's dogs and husbands and whatever are gonna jump in and make that. So I have no idea how that's gonna go, but that's coming up later. So anyway, so until then, you can until I have to get ready for that, but you can fire away with a few more if you want.
Yeah, I think Maya's our resident chef. Is that what we voted last time?
No.
Maya's laughing. She sent some pictures of some pretty good food, that's for sure.
Great.
Well, I did have some more questions here. Here's one. So from Caitlin in Texas, she's coming in as a freshman. She said, how hard is it to transition from high school to college, living wise and being by yourself?
Yeah. Caitlin, this is a good question. And I think, like, I get to see this transition from college to pro a lot. And it's really similar, I think, of just anytime you're going from kind of one level to the next and changing what your lifestyle is and stuff. The amazing thing is you're leaving one hypothetical family to join another one. And, and so your step right now is going to be your immediate family or where you grew up, but you're getting to join this amazing crew here. And someone that's leaving college, that they grow and they love this crew that they're around all the time, and then they go to pro. They either have the national team or their professional teams overseas, but they're just kind of adapting to new people. And I think knowing that you're not in it alone, but the group that you're with or the new family that you're going to create will look and feel very different than your own. Nothing's going to ever replace kind of the people you grew up around and the friends and the family members and the people that you've been at home with. But being able to kind of expand your bubble and kind of expand into the Brockport family and then friends you'll make in college and people like that. And I think it was so good for me. If I think back to when I was a freshman, I had my team and my coaching staff, which was amazing. But having some people right outside of that was really big. I tried to get involved with different clubs and things too, just to one, expand who I was as a person, but then also to have some people in my life too that weren't only about sport. And it was a way to kind of find my path and the who is Erin versus who's Erin as the volleyball player only. And so I think that can be really challenging, but knowing that you're not in it alone is a big one to remember.
Cool. Yeah, that's a great point, that nobody's ever going to replace your first family, but you can have a second family and they can fill some other gaps.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It's amazing when you get on a team and you got people from all over and how you just kind of like start to blend together and take care of each other.
Yeah, it's really, really true. And I can tell by the way you guys like got on the call and just started chatting and not everyone muted themselves right away. I think that's like such a cool sign. I know I don't even know you guys, but just the fact that you're kind of razzing each other, like, you know, talking about different things you're doing, I think is so great when you can have that kind of fun. And our team goes through that a lot because they're most of the time they're all over the world with their pro teams, and we're connecting like this, or they're connecting one-on-one, or, you know, not as much as a group all the time. And so I think that's one thing that we're really trying to take advantage of, is just being together a little bit more, even though it's virtual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been just a different challenge to kind of get to know each other and grow in this way. One of our Megan, who got called into work early, another Megan, there's three. She does daycare, and so she got called into work early today. So recording it, she was like, "What's your pregame routine that you use to mentally get you ready to play?"
Yeah. So when I have one as a coach too, but when I played, and actually the first thing I'll say about a routine is when we talk to our players, our national team players, about this, I think it's important to have some steps that maybe you go through to get ready, but then be able to be very adaptable with that. And some of our players, like if they always had to have this Starbucks drink, and then they always have to have this, and then this, and there's like a 10-step routine. And then we go to this small little town in Peru, and they don't have those things, or maybe the bus is late and you don't have time to run through that routine. That could shake a lot of people or send them down a path that like, wow, I'm not ready to play now. And so I think for me, when I played, and again, in the United States, like a lot of things are pretty comfortable and we can have some basic things. But for me, I always had, I was a pretty high energy player. So I didn't need like a big like song to get me hyped up. I actually needed the opposite. I needed something to calm my mind, run through kind of just like, not like a full tape of the game in my head of a visualization, but have like see myself doing a couple things really well, or maybe how I was going to execute a game plan. And so I love Irish music. And so I played this one Irish song. And usually it was just, guys, this is like really old, but it was on a CD. So I played it on a CD. And then the CD only had 2 songs. So it had this Irish song, and a song you guys probably don't know, but it was called Gin and Juice. This song was for my teammate. So I would get to the end of my song on my CD and my headphones, and I'd hand the Discman. I'd hand the Discman to my teammate Jess, and then she would listen to her like hype song. It was like you'll listen to it at some point. You'd probably like it. But then she would listen to that song. And so we had 2 different kind of ways we needed to kind of like, our energy needed to be ready for the game. And if I forgot it or something, I never was like, okay, this is I'm not going to play well or anything like that. But that was usually something that kind of set the tone for me. As a coach, I usually do all my preparation. Like usually we leave the hotel or wherever we're staying We don't have a home gym, so we don't ever have a home match, even if it's in the United States. It's not like I'm going from my office to the court ever, which is weird if you think about it. But we usually leave the hotel, and so I do a lot of my prep work before I get there. If I have like any kind of notes I'm making on my clipboard and things I'm preparing. And then before the match, usually I'm honestly just relaxing, and our staff, we have an awesome staff, but we're just kind of chatting and not necessarily only like laser focused on what we're trying to achieve, but it's a pretty broad thing, just kind of relaxing. And then, like I said, when I get into the match as a coach, it's as if I'm playing, because I'm going through the same kind of mental rehearsals throughout the match as I would be as a player. So it's a little bit different. I just try to usually calm down and make sure my palms aren't too sweaty.
It's funny. Well,
Yeah.
I've got a couple more, but Amy Spillman and Rachel Pfizer and Maddie Torres are our staff, so they didn't send any in, but they can definitely ask one personally, because I know that Amy always likes to work on her public speaking.
Oh, I feel like that's a dig.
That's tough.
When I recruited her out of high school, Spill, did you answer the phone when I called you?
No.
Oh, why not?
I didn't like talking on the phone.
That's so funny. Look at you now.
Getting places. Now my palms are sweaty.
Now you know, yeah. That's like just the lights are on. You know, something's getting you.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I was trying to think of a question.
All right. Well, I'll ask one more, Spill, then you can ask yours.
Okay, good. I need that preparation.
Yeah, Spill's coming back to us. She played for us for 4 years, and then she was out for a couple.
Cool.
She was on Siena, small D1 school in Albany staff. Now she's coming back to us.
Well, before you ask your question, Steve, I'll tell a funny story about you.
Oh boy! Oh no! No!
Well,
No! 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 No!
It's not like that weird, but I was just laughing because I was thinking, I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to talk to Steve. And the last time I saw Steve, he was helping us out at our women's national team tryout that we have in February each year. And there was two people, but like one person that looked identical to Steve from the back. Like actually there was two that looked very close, but they were both bald, white, about the same height and stature. And then this one day they were wearing the same thing, like the same, because we gave them like the same shorts and t-shirt. And so like they were standing like right by each other. And I was like, I don't know who's Ryan, Andy, or Steve. Like, you look like the same. And me and Tama, who's our other assistant, and she was at the tryout as well, she was like, I knew all the people, and I've known Steve for a long time, but she was like, Erin, like, can you help me who's who? And I'm like, not until they turn around. Like, I don't know. So anyway, it was very funny.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah.
That is. I'm pretty sure you weren't the only one. Someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone else and gave Ryan a hug, and he didn't realize that. They meant to give me a hug, and then they're like, oh.
Yeah. So funny.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I know. All bald guys look alike.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, Erin, I first worked with Erin a while ago, staff, but Erin is so organized. If I take anything from her, it's how organized and detailed she was with her practice. It's amazing working on her, because you knew exactly what you were doing and where you were going. And yeah, it was awesome.
Important. Yeah.
Yeah. Megan Muehlbauer, one of our turning freshmen, says, who or what drives you to keep accomplishing?
You know, that kind of goes back to my why a little bit. I think an easy answer would be we want to try to achieve a gold medal. We've never gotten that in women's indoor. So that is certainly a drive, like an outcome goal. But also the story I shared when I was given a jersey to wear USA for the first time, I have this drive to just do whatever I can to be good for USA and our team and our program, our organization. I'm doing a ton of other things with research and things for our youth development and all this. And I that just drives me. I don't know if I know how to quantify that as like I just want to be the best that I can while I can for USA Volleyball. And I'm like so proud. I felt like that when I was with my schools that I coached and when I played, but I also, I don't know if I've ever felt it quite like I do when I work for this organization. So, but it's a lot of kind of the why that I was talking about before.
Cool. All right.
Like,
Spill.
I have to leave. I have to go.
Yeah, you got to go to work. Carrie's
Yeah.
working. Carrie, where are you working?
Texas Roadhouse.
Nice.
Great. Stay safe.
Bye, guys. Thanks for
Carrie.
talking, Erin.
Yeah.
Carrie, where's your bandana?
It's in my car right now.
Oh, man, I wanted to see you rock your bandana.
No, I don't have it yet. I'll put it on. I'll send another picture in the group chat.
Well, stay safe.
Bye, guys.
Erin.
Thank you.
See ya. Spill.
Okay, I'm ready. So my question is, did you know right when you were done playing that you wanted to coach and this is something you like wanted to do for your life, basically?
Yeah. So the first time I kind of had inklings of that was when I got hurt, and I was going through this process of I can't play, so how can I help my team? And some of that was just trying to be good and just be trying to figure out other ways to be a leader or a teammate when I couldn't be on the court. But I did go play after that, and at that point I was like really thinking about it. And I ended up going to be a graduate assistant at Loyola Chicago. And when I was there, I was studying education and elementary education, actually. I was studying education and coaching. So it was a way for me to kind of test two paths that I wasn't sure which one I wanted to go down. And I kind of gave myself this time during school to figure that out and see where did I want to pour my heart into. And then it was coaching, and I haven't turned back since. It's taken a lot of different forms, but I haven't turned back. And so I didn't know right away, no. And I didn't know when I was in college if that was going to be what I wanted. I knew I wanted to be around sports and I wanted to be around, but I didn't know if it was going to be my career path. And but that was probably when I figured it out most, when I just went for it and kind of was like, let's see. But that's a good question. And that's different for so many of the coaching colleagues I have. And some know really early that they want to be a head coach, and some know that maybe it's not for them, or they don't know how to necessarily balance their life with it. But yeah, for me, that was probably the catalyst. Good question, Amy. Good job.
Thank you.
Nice. Couple random silly questions. If you any brand, I know USA is Adidas right now, but if you could wear any brand, you're just rocking at home, nobody knows, what are you wearing?
I have to go with Adidas. I know I'm like paid to say that, but I actually really like the things that we have with Adidas. So I'll say that. And in college we were Nike. USA before was Mizuno. I've been Adidas with school, Under Armour with schools, but I really like the things that they're putting out.
Nice. Yeah, Adidas didn't exist in the volleyball world back a long time ago. They had
it was like pretty rare, actually. Like this, it wasn't like a sexy brand for volleyball, and I think they're just doing a lot better job now.
All right. What are you on Netflix? Are you binging anything? What are you doing?
Oh, okay. So I don't actually. I'm like really busy these days. I have meetings like all the time, but I really like the Little Fires Everywhere show on Hulu right now. That new episode actually usually comes out on Wednesdays. So it's not really a binge, but it's really good if you haven't seen it. Kerry Washington and Reese Witherspoon.
Nice. Well, we want to give you some of your day back, but we love that you spent some time with us. Any other even serious, silly, the real questions that you want to jump on and ask Erin? You got a chance to talk to her. We haven't used up every last second. Go for it if you have something you want to ask her.
I have a question.
Yes.
How did you incorporate mindfulness into like your practices and like pregame routine and even in the midst of games, like as a player and as a coach?
Yep. You know what? Honestly, when I was playing, it wasn't something we talked about as much as I think we know, and there's a lot more science and there's professionals that are working with teams on that exact topic. But when I was playing, I worked on my self-talk a lot. But it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to sit down and work on my self-talk. Like I didn't like think about it like that, which I encourage you to do, you know, to like actually think about it a little bit. But I was always trying to be kind to myself. I noticed that. Like I was really, really hard on myself, but I was also like I was always trying to do that as a player. And just by like I knew like in a way I was gonna put like I was gonna work as hard or harder than everyone. And so I was gonna work on my self-talk, like you've done all this work, so you're ready for this. So that was a little bit of maybe my mentality when I was a player, is kind of working through that. And now in mindfulness, we talk with our team, and our team is these women are incredible. If you ever have a list, if they're ever on like a live podcast or anything that they're doing now, they're doing a ton. I'd give them a listen, because they're incredible role models and people to look up to. But the mindfulness kind of actions that they'll take is there's a lot of apps they use. There's a Calm app. There's a lot of different mindfulness ones that they use to kind of work through some of those like breathing exercises or meditating and things like that. Headspace is another really good one. I think those are two common ones that our team will use. And then making sure that like we talk about breath a lot. We talk about it with our passers. We talk about it with our servers. With just like how we're breathing and lifting, but just like making sure that we're paying attention to that. And that goes a lot with like how to kind of calm and settle yourself into a good mindfulness space. I mentioned that when I would listen to this song and I'd kind of visualize myself doing things well. Our players do a really good job of that as well. And as a coach, I do that too, of trying to, as I'm running through game film and things like that and scouting, I'll be really, really diligent about visualizing our team and our players executing that really well. So at practice or after, before, when I'm kind of planning for things, that kind of is how that visualization, I guess, gets put into play now. But I encourage you guys to check out a couple of those apps, or I think they're really great. They kind of talk you through some like breathing things or ways to kind of think about and have some gratitude. We have a bunch of girls on our team have gratitude journals, and just writing what you're thankful for and the wonderful blessings that you each have, I think is a really cool exercise, especially when things get hard.
Thanks.
Yeah, good question, Maddie.
Does anyone else have one they want to jump in and ask?
Jordan Thompson, did you know we have a Jordan Thompson on our team?
Yes.
I saw the name pop up before your face popped up, and I'm like, oh, she's on this call too?
It was, I might have played a little joke on one of our assistants.
Oh, yeah, Maddie fell for that so hard.
I wasn't paying very good attention to the message. I just said congratulations.
I put out the
So
USA
embarrassing.
roster. I was like,
Oh,
congratulations to Jordan Thompson on making the USA roster. And
Amazing.
Coach Torres might have been like, oh, that's amazing. And then she was like, wait.
Great, congrats. Like, what? But okay.
I love it.
That was after the first time I met Coach Pike, Maddie, me and Maddie were talking the most. And I was like, she really didn't catch on to that.
Amazing.
Jordan, what is wrong with your sound?
It's Virginia. Virginia's got something going on right now. Yeah. Any other questions?
My audio seems fine.
Yeah, that's true. It's just her part of Virginia.
Jordan and I live like 20 minutes away from each other.
Yeah, like not even probably.
What's wrong? Like underwater.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
We'll figure it out. But Erin, that's awesome. Thank you for spending so much time with us. That was
You're welcome. Yeah, you can share my email with these guys. If you guys have any questions that, maybe you didn't want to ask, or you think about later, you can reach out. I'm usually pretty good with email, or you can call me too.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. We